Tonight, a brutal March megastorm ripping across the country with damaging wind and intense rain battering the east while the Midwest digs out from record-breaking snow. Blizzards turning roads into a total whiteout just days before spring, while firefighters take on a huge warehouse fire in the bitter cold. Look at that. Plus, the dramatic Coast Guard rescue of a snowmobiler stranded on an ice shelf. On the East Coast, rare tornado watches. High wind already tearing through towns up the coast. And look, a funnel cloud forming over a highway in Maryland. Thousands more flights canceled, and it is a 1-2 punch for travelers, with security lines stretching out the door as hundreds of TSA agents walk off the job. What you need to know before you fly. The war with Iran, a giant fireball over Dubai's airport. You see it there after an Iranian drone attack. And the terrifying moment a cluster bomb explodes near Tel Aviv. Our Richard Engel is on the ground. Cuba plunged into darkness, the country's entire electrical grid collapsing. Our rare interview with one of Cuba's top officials. Panic on the beach as crowds of spring breakers take off running. Why this party devolved into chaos. We've got top stories starting right now. Good evening. I'm Hallie Jackson in for Tom, and we begin with the wild weather all across this country right now. A blizzard battering the Midwest, making history as severe storms march up the East Coast. More than 45 million people now on alert. We've already seen near total whiteout conditions from Iowa to South Dakota. Look at that. Dangerous for drivers. You can barely see what's in front of you. In Green Bay, in Wisconsin, really intense wind fueled this huge warehouse fire. Made it really tough for firefighters. Think about how much snow, how bitterly cold it was. You see that thick smoke rising into the sky. The city got a ton of snow, 26 plus, maybe a fraction of an inch there. It's the biggest snowstorm in more than a century. Michigan was also hit hard. Some homeowners plowing through 3 feet of snow. It was up to their windows almost in some spots. And the Coast Guard rescuing a snowmobiler who became stranded when an ice block broke off near one island nearby. The East Coast faced a rare tornado threat today with a potential funnel cloud spotted over the highway in Maryland. Several states are under tornado watches throughout the day. And down south, gale force winds slamming North Carolina. Doorbell camera capturing the moment a kid is flung into the air in Texas. How scary. Even Hawaii got slammed, with the Big Island shattering a 75-year rainfall record. Over in Maui, one home was swept away in the flooding there. Look, you see that whole garage, it looks like, just taken out. All of it has meant a travel nightmare. More than 4,000 flights canceled today alone, and it is not over yet. We're going to bring you the latest track in just a second, but I want to start with our Angie Lastman leading us off from Wisconsin.
Tonight, the Midwest buried in record-smashing snow. Look at these near whiteout conditions in this video from Wisconsin. You can barely make out the road. Car after car after car stuck.
Probably one of the crazier snowstorms we've ever seen.
One town got a jaw-dropping 3 feet, while here in Green Bay,
this storm already dumping 20 inches of snow so far, solidifying its place in the record books as the largest March snowstorm since 1888. An impressive amount of snow, even for Midwest standards, with just 4 days till spring.
A massive fire broke out at a warehouse here this morning. Firefighters fighting high winds and freezing equipment as they battled the blaze. The blizzard also causing dangerous conditions on the roads in Iowa, where this tractor trailer overturned. And in South Dakota, where pushing was the only way out for this Amazon truck. While in Michigan, a dramatic rescue. Watch this Coast Guard cutter make its way to a snowmobiler stranded on a sheet of ice, pulling him on board to safety. Meanwhile, the East Coast was pummeled by an outbreak of severe storms today, with portions of 10 states under tornado watches. Take a look at this funnel cloud that formed over a highway in Maryland. The wind and rain leading to a mess at the nation's airports. More than 4,000 flights canceled today, with the storms triggering ground stops at major hubs including Atlanta and Chicago. In Charlotte, high winds sent debris through the air. The winds were so strong in Texas over the weekend, it sent this child flying. Even the South was hit by frigid temperatures today, with a rare snowstorm in Alabama. While back in the Midwest, the snow is finally tapering off, but the dig-out is just beginning.
Angie is joining us now from Green Bay. Angie, there's so much snow on the ground, and it's so incredible to think about the fact that spring is just a couple of days away.
Days away, and yet we look like a winter wonderland here. Hallie, you're exactly right. Biggest snowstorm so far of the year for this region. More than 300 cities picking up double-digit snowfall totals, including, of course, here in Green Bay, where you'll notice we've started to get some cleanup underway now that the heavy snow has stopped. City officials have actually extended that snow emergency, lasting it into tomorrow night, Tuesday evening, and urging drivers to continue as usual. Stop. Make sure that you're not getting on those roads just yet. They still want a little extra time to clear them off. So my advice, since folks are staying home, you might as well have a snowball.
Get after it.
Oh, my
yeah,
gosh.
Angie, come on, girl.
Hallie. Straight out my photog.
Girl, I love
Bill's a
it. Your photog, is it Bill? We love Bill. We love Sue Kroll, who I know is with you out there, too. You and your team. Stay warm. Thank you for bringing all of it to us. I appreciate you. Have fun in your almost spring snowball fight. Bill Cairns is tracking it for us. Bill, you don't get any snowballs, man. When are we going to get you out there?
Oh, no, only Angie.
So,
we'll let Angie do it.
But you know, I'm sitting here in Washington, and you know, like I'll tell you, all the kids in the city got out, and most of them got out of school early today. There was a real concern about the severe storm threat here. It sounds like, well, people shouldn't let their guard down just now in the Mid-Atlantic. The threat is mostly over.
Yes. Yeah, the forecast didn't materialize. It's as simple as that. So we went into today, we knew the storm was obviously very strong, the blizzard in the Great Lakes. This produced severe weather all through the Ohio Valley yesterday, all through the South. The only place it really didn't leave its mark is in the Mid-Atlantic. There's been isolated reports of wind damage, but we haven't had anything that's been too severe. And the reason why is because we had too many rounds of storms. So you need the sunshine and the warmth. That the heat's the energy for storms. If we don't have that heat and the energy, the storms won't be as strong. It's as simple as that. And because we had so many rounds of storms during the day, we never got like the big storm in the late afternoon. We still have a line. We have a severe thunderstorm warning from the Raleigh area, but even this is dying off now as the sun is setting. So we're past the point where we're worried about any like severe storms or tornadoes, but the winds will still howl. There's people that will be in the Northeast tonight sleeping.
Yikes.
And when that cold front swings through, your house is going to shake and the windows are going to rattle. We could have 63-mile-per-hour gusts tonight in Boston, all through eastern Mass, areas of Rhode Island, too, and still pretty breezy at the Jersey Shore, Long Island, New York City. As far as snow goes, we're going to get a little bit more tomorrow morning. Some unwelcome shoveling in Buffalo to Erie, Syracuse, Rochester, down through central PA. Just a couple inches, nothing, horrible. And then, Hallie, we turn the page and we go straight to summer. We have excessive heat warnings. Heat warnings in the middle of March. All these red dots are record highs over the next 5 days. And this is going to be eye-breaking. One quick stat. California could set the hottest temperature in the U.S. for March and April ever recorded.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know what you're booked for later in the week. Bill Cairns, come back. I know you'll be talking about it. We'll be watching all of that in the West there. Appreciate that, friend. Listen, this really intense weather is not the only thing creating flight delays during this very busy spring break travel week. We've seen security lines stretching for hours at some airports with TSA staffing issues during this partial government shutdown. Tom Costello is tracking it all.
The busiest spring break travel week yet.
I'm in TSA pre-check. I'm all the way back and bag is claimed.
With building frustration and long lines at key airports, including Austin, Atlanta, and LaGuardia. After missing a second paycheck, the TSA says 366 officers have now quit. Hundreds are calling out every day to work a second job to make ends meet.
This is a kitchen table issue. Sit at the table, speak to the TSA officers, find out from them what's going on.
For some, it's potentially life and death.
I've heard from officers who cannot afford co-payments for cancer treatments or office visits for their sick children.
The airports with the highest call-out rates include 21% in Atlanta, JFK, and Houston Hobby, 16% in New Orleans, 14% in Pittsburgh. When Republican Senator Cornyn showed up with burgers for TSA officers, Democratic Congressman Greg Casar was there.
Instead of bringing people burgers, he should bring them their paychecks.
On Truth Social, President Trump today said the crazed Democrats are not allowing TSA agents to get paid. Democrats have offered to fund TSA, but want changes to ICE procedures after 2 Americans were killed in Minneapolis. The TSA's advice, get to the airport 2 to 3 hours early.
We are concerned If this continues, it's a matter of if, not when, we're going to have significant impacts at the airport. And those impacts are just going to worsen.
Tonight, no sign of compromise on Capitol Hill. The TSA insists security not being compromised, but officers and passengers are paying the price every day. Hallie?
Tom Costello, thank you. Now to the war with Iran. And tonight, new images appear to show the first non-Iranian oil tanker crossing the key Strait of Hormuz since the start of this war. It comes as President Trump tries to pressure allies to send warships to the critical waterway to fully open it back up. Our senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez explains.
Tonight, amid Iran's attacks on oil tankers trying to drive up oil prices, President Trump is pressuring U.S. allies to send warships to help unblock the vital Strait of Hormuz.
Some are very enthusiastic and some are less than enthusiastic, and I assume some will not do it.
The president saying he's been talking with about a half dozen countries to counter the Iranian regime.
This is a paper tiger that we're dealing with now. It wasn't a paper tiger 2 weeks ago. It's a paper tiger now.
But Germany's defense minister arguing today this is not our war. A top diplomat for the European Union saying there's no appetite to help with escorting ships. The president ripping the NATO alliance.
When we want to know, do you have any minesweepers? Well, would rather not get involved, sir. I said, for 40 years we're protecting you and you don't want to get involved? We'll protect them. And if we ever needed help, they won't be there for us.
About 20% of the world's oil typically flows through the Strait of Hormuz, virtually all of it to Asia, not the U.S. But the instability is affecting global oil prices. Jet fuel is up, which could lead to higher airfares. And the average price for a gallon of gas is up more than 70 cents since the war began.
When this is over, oil prices are going to go down very, very rapidly. You can't let the most violent, vicious country in the last 50 years have a nuclear weapon.
Late today, the vice president pressed on why he supports this war, despite previously opposing U.S. intervention abroad.
We have a smart president, whereas in the past we've had dumb presidents, and I trust President Trump to get the job done, to do a good job for the American people, and to make sure that the mistakes of the past aren't repeated. Absolutely.
Gabe is joining us now from the White House North Lawn. So, Gabe, there's this upcoming trip that the president's supposed to be taking to China, super high profile, but now we're hearing word of a potential delay because of all this. What's going on?
Yeah, that's right, Hallie. Look, it was just a few weeks from now. The president said today that he may want to postpone that summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping for a month or so because of the war, adding that it's important for him to be here. Hallie.
Gabe Gutierrez, thank you. And with the Strait of Hormuz clearly a major flashpoint, Iran is renewing its attacks on neighbors in the region. Our Richard Engel has this report from Tel Aviv.
Iran is lashing out, today with airports again in the crosshairs. In Dubai, fires burned from an Iranian strike. Oil facilities hit in the Emirates. We filmed an Iranian cluster bomb as it exploded midair near Tel Aviv. Those lights floating down are each small bombs. One of them landed on Ram Massasa's house. He showed me exactly where he was, saying he thought about ignoring the air raid sirens. But
I knew that if a missile would hit me, my wife would kill me.
For having ignored the siren.
For having ignored the siren, yeah.
He walked down these steps and made it to the safe room.
I closed the door of the shelter, and the second I closed it, bam!
The blast was 10 seconds after he decided to leave.
Did you tell your wife that it was thinking about her and what she was going to do to you if you didn't listen to siren?
Yeah, she said I was right. She would have killed me.
In Lebanon, Israeli troops are rapidly expanding their ground operation against Hezbollah. 800,000 people displaced so far. While in Iran, the government, which launched a brutal crackdown on protesters in January, is now threatening to kill anyone who protests the regime. President Trump says that's why demonstrators, for now, have not taken to the streets.
They can be brave, but they're not stupid. And they have no gun. And you have snipers in buildings.
Richard is joining us now from Tel Aviv. And Richard, there's some new reporting from our team here about potential off-ramps, right?
potential off-ramps if President Trump chooses to take them. So 6 U.S. officials familiar with the war plans presented to President Trump say that these war plans do include off-ramps, ways that he could end the war right now militarily with Iran. Also ways that he could potentially escalate the war. He has yet to make a decision. While officials in Iran say at the moment, this is what they're publicly saying, that they're not focused on diplomacy, they're focused on fighting off a foreign aggression. Allie.
Richard Engel, live for us there in Tel Aviv. Richard, thank you. To an update now out of the White House here in Washington with President Trump revealing his chief of staff, one of the most powerful people in this city, has been diagnosed with early-stage breast cancer. Susie Wiles says she's encouraged by a strong prognosis and plans to stay on in her role as President Trump's right hand. You see her there in the pink blazer. Kelly O'Donnell is joining us here in D.C. with more. And, Kelly, she will continue to work full-time while she's going through this treatment.
That is the plan, and in her public statement today, she noted that many women take that same position. She talked about the fact that there are women who care for their families, they go to work, they serve their communities while going through treatment. Now, she did not disclose the type of treatment she will experience, but she said she learned about this diagnosis last week. She expressed confidence in the doctors who are working with her, and that if we look at the statistics, when it's in its early stage, there is, over a 5-year period, a 99% survivability. When it's stage 1 breast cancer, it is also very common. And she did note it, that 1 in 8 women during their lifetime will be facing this kind of diagnosis. So in many ways, what Susie Wiles is talking about is an experience that many American women have. What is different here is because she's the first woman to ever be White House Chief of Staff, we've never dealt with this particular kind of health scare and health concern with someone this close to the president by virtue of her being groundbreaking in that way. She's often someone right in the room with the president, there when he's making decisions, and we will see how she progresses in the time ahead. Of course, we wish her well in her optimistic note. She says she believes there's a strong prognosis.
Yeah, Kelly O'Donnell here with us in Washington. Kelly, thank you for that reporting, and I know you stay on top of it. Appreciate it. Let's take it to Cuba now with a rare look inside that regime and a top official telling NBC News exclusively the country wants to open up more of a relationship with the U.S., even with some critics skeptical. Our George Solis has made his way to Havana and reports tonight.
Tonight, Cuba is in the dark. The entire electrical grid collapsing today as the country struggles with an energy crisis, leaving millions on the island without power. During this latest blackout, people have been spilling out to the streets here for hours. Fortunately, some cloud cover to keep them from this blistering heat. It's been 3 months since a drop of oil has reached the country. Highways are empty because there's no gas. Women are delivering babies in dark hospitals with no electricity. Conditions are deteriorating. I sat down exclusively with Deputy Prime Minister Oscar Perez Oliva Fraga, considered by many to be Cuba's economic czar. His plan to attract more foreign investors, including large companies from the United States. He says Cuba is open to having a fluid commercial relationship with U.S. companies, with Cubans residing in the United States and their descendants. This person tells me it would be a breath of fresh air. And while there are people in the United States who legally do business with Cuba, Washington's trade embargo restricts many companies from doing authorized business there. Today, President Trump was asked about taking Cuba.
Taking Cuba, I mean, whether I free it, take it, I think I could do anything I want with it.
What a relationship would look like, though, remains to be seen, particularly since Congress has to vote, and many in Congress are skeptical.
I would ask and advise any Cuban that lives here or any Cuban in exile, please don't invest in Cuba. You're wasting your time.
Today, Cuban-American activists in Miami came together to send a message.
If we don't have any change in political rights, if we don't have any political guarantees, there's no economic change that's possible.
Freedom is to be able to choose your destiny. It's about Cuban sovereignty, not about business.
I want to bring in George Solis, who is joining us now live from Havana. And to have you on the ground there, George, is significant. Can you give us a sense of what your experience has been like there?
Yeah, Hallie, so for the lucky few that actually have generators that are running, you're able to have power, which is how we're able to transmit to you right now. Other people are obviously doing what they can to salvage and use their resources wisely. We spent some time on the streets of Havana today. Throughout all the darkness, some light. We talked to residents, neighbors in a community who, in the dark, were standing by their neighbor, making sure that he was accompanied. And on the streets of central Havana, we saw people spilling out onto the streets. Later tonight, many will head out to the iconic seawall here to just cool off and also take a break from the reality of the situation. Allie?
George Solis live for us there in Cuba. Thank you. We are back in a moment with Verdict Watch in the murder trial of a Utah mom accused of killing her husband, then writing a children's book about grief. Plus, chaos erupting in beach towns, leaving multiple people hurt. What officers are doing to try to get spring break crowds under control. Then Steve Kornacki joins us with what you should know to try to win your March Madness bracket. That's just ahead on Top Story. We are back now with an update in a murder trial out of Utah. A jury now set to decide the fate of a mother of three accused of poisoning her husband with a lethal dose of fentanyl and later writing a children's book about dealing with grief. Camila Bernal explains.
The case against Corey Richens now in a jury's hands.
She intended to kill him with the illicit street drugs.
In closing arguments today, the prosecution said Richens killed her husband Eric by giving him a Moscow Mule and possibly a lemon drop laced with fentanyl, also claiming that she wanted his money and to be with another man.
She was unhappy. She wanted to leave Eric Richens, but did not want to leave his money.
After her husband's death, Richens wrote a children's book about grief. She is also facing fraud charges. The state said she was millions in debt and wanted Eric's life insurance money.
She had a plan on how she was spending Eric's money and didn't realize it was trust money.
Is he not breathing?
Prosecutors replayed the 911 call, arguing that it took Richens 6 minutes to administer CPR while she was on the phone with the dispatcher.
The first minute is the sound of a wife becoming a black widow.
The defense, who rested without calling a single witness, pointed in closing to the lack of evidence linking Richens to the fentanyl.
They waited until closing to tell you, oh, she put it in a drink, without any evidence.
They also heard from the man Richens was in a relationship with and were shown their text messages.
Corey's ready for Josh to be her husband.
The defense pointed to a tainted investigation and witness credibility.
Corey Richens did not kill Eric Richens. The state did not prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt, and you have the courage to tell them this and find Corey Richens not guilty.
Legal experts say getting a conviction won't be easy for prosecutors.
There is no evidence of where the fentanyl came from or how it got into Eric Richens' body. So the jury is going to have to look at all of the evidence together and decide whether or not it's enough to convict.
Camila is joining us now. And Camila, that is exactly the question that the jury is considering even at this moment tonight, right? No sense of timeline on how long these deliberations could take.
No, Hallie, they've been deliberating for about 2 hours or so, and we actually just heard from the court. What they're saying is that the jury wants to stay longer. So the judge has actually ordered dinner for the jury, but it's unclear how much longer they're going to stay. Now, also important to note here, she did not testify on her own behalf, and Corey Richens has pled not guilty to all the charges against her. Hallie?
Camila Bernal in L.A. for us. Camila, thank you. Still to come tonight, the new warning from the FDA about a dangerous E. coli outbreak linked to cheddar cheese. We've got that. Plus, a dramatic mountain rescue. An 80-year-old hiker left stranded overnight in the wild. How crews managed to finally get him to safety. Stay with us. We are back with another shakeup in the Trump administration. Greg Bovino, who was once the face of the president's immigration crackdown, is set to retire at the end of the month, according to two officials with Customs and Border Protection. Bovino was the commander in charge of ICE operations during those controversial crackdowns in Minneapolis, when ICE officers and agents shot and killed American citizens Renee Good and Alex Preddy. Bovino was removed from his commander role by President Trump some months ago, and now it sounds like he could be leaving for good. I want to bring in Julia Ainsley, who's been tracking all of it here. Talk to us about this. Very visible face of the administration, now on his way out in an ostensible retirement. Talk us through what happened here.
Well, first thing to know is DHS is saying he has not yet filed the required paperwork to retire, but the buzz throughout CBP today and multiple officials I've spoken to say they do hear that he plans to retire by the end of the month. Now, that would coincide with the departure of Secretary Kristi Noem, who Trump has asked to leave. And what this means, and it's indicative of, a larger about face when it comes to immigration policy from this administration. We know that after those fatal shootings that you mentioned in Minneapolis, Greg Bovino was pulled out. He was sent back to El Centro, California, where he has previously been the sector chief. And they sent in Tom Homan, someone who's told NBC News that he thinks that if they kept making these widespread immigration arrests rather than targeting criminals, they could lose the faith of the American people. And so his retirement is coming on that news, and it coincides with Noem's departure. He reported to Noem, who was a close ally of Noem's and her advisor, Corey Lewandowski. But I should also mention that before Bovino was sent to Los Angeles, Charlotte, Chicago, all these cities that eventually ended in Minneapolis, he was already nearing retirement age. So it's almost not surprising he would be considering retirement at this point. It's a mandatory 57 retirement age in CBP. He'll be 57 in March of next year. But in this case, it does, of course, coincide, and it is indicative of just how much of an about face in just 2026 this administration has done when it comes to immigration.
No kidding, and a new potential new Secretary of Homeland Security on the way, too. Julia Ainsley, thank you very much. Now to Top Stories news feed, and a big setback for the Health Secretary and his overhaul of vaccine guidelines for kids. A federal judge has now blocked those big changes, arguing that what Kennedy, the Health Secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., wanted to do violated federal law. The ruling today stems from a suit brought by major medical organizations. A spokesperson for HHS says they're going to push for this ruling to be overturned. A consumer alert tonight. A raw cheese producer is declining to issue a recall after 2 of its products were linked to a dangerous E. coli outbreak. The FDA is investigating raw cheddar cheese from the brand Raw Farms. Health officials say it's connected to 7 infections across California, Florida, and Texas. 4 of those cases in young kids. 2 patients were sent to the hospital. The company has yet to respond to our request for comment. And just outside Las Vegas, search teams rescuing an 80-year-old hiker who was stranded alone overnight. Crews say the man was lost after getting separated from his group on Friday afternoon. They didn't find him until the next day, but when they did, he was airlifted off the mountain. He was apparently dehydrated and cold, but otherwise in good shape and expected to be fine. Plus, a historic clean sweep for Team USA hockey. The Americans beat Canada yesterday 6-2 to win Paralympic gold. Remember, the men's and women's Olympic gold medal teams also took home the top spot, beating Canada. So this is, gang, we got to call it a hat trick. That's what this is, and it is epic. It's amazing. A clean sweep for the U.S. hockey tournaments at both the Olympics and the Paralympics in the same year. Hats off to all the athletes in Milan. Spring break, too, is in full swing right now, with visitors packing Beach Town. But one popular Florida spot is now under scrutiny after what police call a beachfront stampede. All of it captured on camera. Jesse Kirsch has the video.
This is the moment chaos erupts in Daytona Beach, Florida. Hundreds of people running across the beach Saturday after what appeared to be gunshots ringing out.
There were 0 gunshots on the beach, because what they were doing was crushing a water bottle to make it sound like a gunshot to stampede the crowd.
The Volusia County Sheriff says it happened even with dozens of law enforcement officers in the crowd, later adding at least one weekend shooting was also spring break related. And in Port Aransas, Texas, police say a 17-year-old shot and wounded 5 people on a beach late Saturday night.
No one's running from gunshots.
But in Miami Beach, Florida, an iconic party town has worked on a spring break rebrand in recent years. And it seems to be working. Police say this weekend arrests plummeted almost 21% year over year. The city's surging resources, more police, DUI and license plate checks, but also parking and getting towed are more expensive.
The strategy that we implemented was an all hands on deck and a collective strategy involving not only the police department, but different city entities that made it very clear, we welcome you to our city, but if you decide to break the rules and break the law, you'll be dealt with accordingly.
Racing a new strategy to avoid scenes like this.
Jesse Kirsch is joining us now from Miami Beach. So, Jesse, what else are they doing there to try to keep things in check?
Yeah, so Hallie, as of now, nothing additional has been added from the city's plan so far, but if they need it, they can add things like barricades along much of this historic stretch of Ocean Drive, one of the most famous stretches in America, of course. They can also shut down the beach at 6 p.m. at night, but the hope is that you can keep the party relatively tame because it's Miami Beach. It's never really quiet here. With stuff like this in place, a visible police presence among the other measures we're talking about here. Bottom line, as much as anything, they just want people, before they even get here, to have a different perspective on what spring break is here now. And the city believes that it is starting to work, Hallie.
Jesse Kirsch right there in the middle of it all. Jesse, thanks. And if it's March, it means it is madness, and plenty of bracket busters in the mix this year with some big storylines for the NCAA tournament, like the freshmen set to dominate, and a real potential Cinderella story when it comes to one team that hasn't won a postseason game in 50 years. Guess who's here? Guess who's at a special basketball big board? Steve Kornacki, as you shall be known for the next several weeks. I'm so excited to have you here, especially because you know I'm relying on you to fill out my bracket. I'm doing my Steve picks only. Let's start with the women. UConn, right? I should just put them right in all the way through?
Well, God help you, Hallie, if you're going on my picks. It's the busted Kornacki is what it was last year. But, yes, on the women's side, there was talk a couple of years ago of a changing of the guard, South Carolina supplanting UConn as the premier power. Well, the guard has changed back. UConn romped to the title last year. They are the #1 overall seed this year. They have not even lost this year. They come into this tournament 34-0. If you went to Vegas and tried to bet them, it'd be very, very short odds. UConn, there's favorites, and then there are overwhelming favorites. That is UConn in this tournament.
Okay, so let's talk men's, because this one is super interesting. I know that while St. John's is the #1 seed in your heart, it is Duke that has the #1 seed overall, right?
Yeah, take a look here. The 4 #1s, the Duke Blue Devils, who you just mentioned, Florida, the defending champions, Arizona, power for a long time, though they have not made it back to the Final Four in a quarter century. So is this the year for them? And the Michigan Wolverines out of the Big Ten. Those are the 4 top seeds here on the men's side, Hallie.
Okay, but so then get us into it. Like, if we're going to do a bracket, which, yes, we'll do again this year, I'll do one. There's always, like, an interesting, you know, when they do the 5 seed, I think, isn't it the 5 seeds and the 12 seeds? Like, those places where you tend to get some interesting upsets, the Cinderella stories. I'm fascinated by Nebraska, who hasn't won a March Madness game in, like, decades.
Ever.
But they're in it. Yeah, like, give me, like, my favorite, what are my favorite stories going to be this year?
Let's go through the 4 regions here. Let's take them through quickly here. Duke, they are the #1 seed in the East. The committee did Duke no favors. It is loaded here in the East. Take a look at UConn, big powerhouse there. Michigan State. Look, St. John's is the 5th seed in the East region. They just demolished #2 UConn by 20 points in the conference championship game. So if Duke gets through this thing here, they will have earned it in the East region to get to the Final Four. Go down south. That is where Florida, the defending national champion, is. But, yeah, Hallie, you're talking about could there be some upsets here. So Nebraska, it's a great story. Never have they won a tournament game, ever. They're seeded 4. They're supposed to win this one. But look out for the Troy Trojans, who earlier this year went out west. They knocked off San Diego State. They took USC to the wire. They can play with the big boys. Could they spoil Nebraska's bid there? How about VCU, the Rams playing North Carolina, who is missing, thanks to injury, a key player. Maybe the Rams could pull the upset over North Carolina. Are we looking for an upset here in the West? Arizona here, I think, is going to be very tough to beat coming out of this region. They have 5, their top 5, their 5 starters, I should say, Hallie, all average double digits, the best team from the best conference. Here's where I think you might have a little more luck with some underdogs. Michigan, the #1 seed in the Midwest. Could we find an upset special here? How about the Zips? How about Akron against Texas Tech? Texas Tech beleaguered with a key injury as well. The Zips, look out for the 12 seed over to 5, as you just called.
I'll take any team calling the Zips. Can I ask you just a real question, Steve?
Yes.
When do you have time to obsess over this? We're in the middle of midterm primaries. How do you have the ability?
I'll tell you what, this is kind of what keeps me young, I think. I fell in love with this tournament decades ago, and it's just like, I love it. That's Sunday night, 6 o'clock, get the paper and pen out, write the bracket out, and here we go.
I'm obsessed with you. Thank you, Steve. We'll look for your official Kornacki, I know, in the days to come. Appreciate you.
You got it, Hallie.
Thanks, pal. Back now with our coverage of the war in the Middle East. Tens of thousands of flights now canceled as some big airports in the region come under fire from direct strikes and ones nearby. That's all led to the biggest air travel disruption in the world since the pandemic. Our Raf Sanchez is in Beirut tonight with that.
Tonight, an Iranian strike on the world's busiest international airport, underscoring the threat to air travel across the Middle East. 2 drones hitting near Dubai International.
Oh my God.
One of several attacks since the war began. Punishment, Iran says, for the UAE hosting U.S. troops, while Israel has repeatedly hit Tehran's main domestic airport, saying it's being used by Iran's Revolutionary Guard. And in Kuwait, terror as part of the terminal ceiling collapsed. The result? The biggest disruption to global air travel since the pandemic, with tens of thousands of flights canceled. While in Beirut, there's nothing strange about flights taking off amid towers of smoke, as Israel attacks what it says are Hezbollah strongholds near the airport. We made the journey on Wednesday.
So we're coming into land in Beirut, and from the air, you can really clearly see the city's southern suburbs, which Israel has been targeting intensively.
And minutes after we landed,
so we're in the airport parking lot, and we can hear the sounds of strikes nearby. The Israelis are targeting an area only about a mile from here.
We headed above ground.
So you can see probably less than a mile from where we are now west of the airport, that big cloud of black smoke.
While the airport is quiet, it's still open and still running. Fayez Rassamni is Lebanon's transport minister.
How do you keep an international airport open when bombs are falling all around it?
It's very difficult, very complicated. There was a Middle East Airlines coming from Paris and trying to land at around midnight. And they couldn't land for 40 minutes because there were fighter jets in the area. You have a bit of supply of fuel, but you need to take a decision fast. Should I go to Cyprus? Should I wait and land? And he took the right decision. He landed in Beirut after 40, 50 minutes of uncertainties.
Lebanon has only one international airport. And in 2006, during another war with Hezbollah, Israel struck it directly.
Has the United States given you any assurances that Israel will not target the airport?
They gave us assurances, and I'm in direct contact with the American ambassador.
Lebanese passengers we met were unfazed arriving home.
We just saw an airstrike. Yes.
So you just saw an airstrike and you weren't worried?
No, we're used to it.
As Lebanon's portal to the outside world remains defiantly open.
Raf is joining us now from Beirut. So, Raf, help us contextualize to a degree what this disruption to air travel means in the region and around the world.
Yeah, Hallie, so air traffic in the Gulf is down by about 75% from before the war, but it would really be a mistake to think that that only impacts people in the Middle East. A lot of flights from the U.S. to Asia go via Dubai, New York to Bangkok, for example, and a lot of those flights are being canceled. So there are going to be many people who have no connections to the Middle East at all who are going to find their plans totally upended. Hallie.
Raf Sanchez, thank you for that. To top stories, global watch, starting in Japan now, where 2 people are dead, 2 others hurt, after a pair of boats capsized. That happened today near a controversial relocation site for an American military base off the country's southern island of Okinawa. Japanese officials say 21 people were on those boats, most of them high school students on a field trip. Investigators are now trying to figure out what exactly caused that accident. Also tonight, the BBC is asking a court to dismiss President Trump's $10 billion lawsuit against the broadcaster. The president's suing for defamation, remember, over the way a BBC documentary edited a speech he gave back on January 6th, which made it appear he directly encouraged his supporters to storm the Capitol. The broadcaster's pushing to have the case thrown out. They say the documentary never even aired in the U.S. In a statement to NBC News, the president's legal team says they'll keep working to hold the BBC accountable. And as Mexico gets ready for the World Cup this summer, as North America prepares, a huge crowd just turned out in that country's capital to shatter the Guinness World Record for the biggest soccer class ever recorded. Look at that. Some 9,000 people packing into the public square there to kick off this 40-minute training session. The mayor of Mexico City says this record sends a message to the world that soccer is the universal language of peace that, quote, needs no translation.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.